Good evening, everybody. I am Suzanne Shirley, Emerald Ambassador with Plexus. Let me see if I can get the light just a little bit better in here so that everybody can see me. It's so good to be on with you tonight. We are going to continue our live study of What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter, PhD, the incredible Shad Helmstetter, who has not invented the idea of self-talk and reprogramming the brain. However, he is quite insightful on the topic itself, and we are going to help you to really hone in on how and why and what to do with your self-talk. Okay, so we finished the last week, which was a recorded version. I was in Leaders Retreat, and I had recorded chapters 6, 7, and 8 for you, in which I discussed in great detail the wall. And when you hit the wall, you cannot push past whatever it is that you're really wanting to achieve. You're really wanting to go and do something, make a move, call someone, start a conversation, jump out of your comfort zone, do a live video, whatever the case may be. And you are just strapped in your fear and you don't know why. We discovered that the cycle of programming, which creates beliefs, beliefs create attitudes, attitudes create feelings, feelings determine your actions, and then finally actions create results. And in most cases, all of these things do not create results because that's the wall that's hitting you. So we talked about how to manage yourself better by changing your own programming, reprogramming the brain. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the next 3 chapters, chapters 9, 10, and 11. And those chapters are simply going to entail, finally, the 5 levels of self-talk. The first 2 are actually levels that do not help you at all. They are hurtful. They're harmful. The next 2 actually are really amazing, and that's where people spend the majority of their time in improving and reprogramming the brain. So levels 3 and 4. Finally, level 5 is the etherical. I'll talk to you a little bit more about it, but it's the level that you can attain and get to at some point, but it's not the place where you should focus. Levels 3 and 4 are where you should focus. And if you were to ask me, level 4 is the best. Level 4 is where you should really seek to attain. We'll talk about that in more detail. Also, we're going to discover and talk about why is it that positive thinking just doesn't work all by itself? And we're also going to discover the problem of motivation. Everyone thinks that if they can just get motivated, that they're going to be amazing. Well, the motivation that we all think is out there someplace is really mythical. We're going to talk about the motivation myth tonight. All right, so let's get started. And we are at 72 right now, so feel free to invite some more on if they need to come on. Okay, there are 5 levels of self-talk. And in these levels, self-talk is a way to override, remember, your past negative programming by erasing or replacing it with conscious, that means awake, in your awakened state, your completely awakened state, conscious brain, not subconscious, not subliminal, not dreaming, not hypnotized, conscious. I felt like I needed to say that. Conscious, positive, new directions. Self-talk is a practical way to live your life by active intent rather than by passive acceptance. Now think about what passive acceptance is. That's where most of the population lives. Things just happen to them. And when things just happen to them, they have an idea about it, or they have a belief or an opinion about it. And they might complain about it. And what comes out of their mouth is usually something pretty negative. And a lot of the times it's something that's self-limiting. And so they say the thing that's self-limiting, they think the thing that's self-limiting, and they continue to live in that self-limited rut, which he's talking about is living in the state of passive acceptance. So we're going to give new directions to our subconscious minds by talking to ourselves in a different way. And in order to change what we would like to change, even if we have not been able to do it in the past. So we have attempted and attempted and attempted to change something in the past. Over and over again, we've tried to stop overeating. We've tried to quit smoking. We've tried to become more organized. We've tried to stop being late to every event that we go to. We've tried to do numerous things. Stop being so cluttered, for example, or whatever the case may be. And the attempt to do so has always ended in failure. It lasts for a little while, and maybe you've heard some self-help way to do it, but it never is permanent. So there's several kinds of self-talk that we can actually implement. And I'm going to bring the light in just a little bit. I'm sorry for the haze in front of my face. It should be okay though. All right. So the first level, level 1, is actually the most harmful form of self-talk. And it's what comes right out of your mouth when you start sentences saying, I cannot, I can't, okay? You're saying something bad or negative about yourself. And what you do is you just accept it as you say it, okay? This level is the easiest to spot, and we can hear it everywhere we go. Think about this. If you will just notice what you hear when you go out in public, or when you're around some of your loved ones, or when you're around some people that you work with, notice what comes out of their mouths. It's the easiest one to spot, guys. I can't. If only I could. I wish I could, but I can't. And so on and so forth. This self-talk works directly against us. And it's obvious, right, why it does. Because we are literally making a prophecy or a destiny of what's to befall us, what's going to come. There's a saying that says, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, that's the truth. I forget exactly. Whether you believe you can, if you believe you can, then you will. If you believe you can't, then you won't. I think that's the gist of it. I always come up with these things. Remember, someone has already said, and then I just can't remember the exact phraseology of it. But whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, that's the truth, right? So what does level 1 do? Now, I love what he says here, okay? It reeks in our lives. It literally stinks it up. It's staunchy. It's horrible. And it clutters, it blocks, and it confuses. It turns our self-assurance into self-doubt and chaos. It cripples our best intentions and seduces us into becoming satisfied with mediocrity. And that, I think, is a tragedy right there. It is the heart of a get-by attitude. I'm just going to come in and mute everyone again. It is the heart of a get-by attitude. It's subtle whispers telling us to passively accept a fate far less great than we once had dreamed of attaining. It is the mythical siren, and that is a capital S, meaning like it's like a person, right? It's a proper noun. It's a mythical siren which draws us into the shore, dashing our hopes on reefs of despair and complacency. Despair and complacency. Who would like to live there? I mean, this is the worst place to live. So bottom line, if you can get rid of your negative I can'ts and level 1 self-talk, you're going to just literally get over the number 1 biggest hurdle in your pursuit of personal growth and development. I want to say that again. If you can literally stomp out, get rid of the words coming out of your mouth, I can't, I wish I could, but I can't, if only I could. If you can get rid of the actual words that come out of your mouth that you're saying like that, you are going to get over your number 1 hurdle. Right there, you have just conquered your number 1 battle, one of your biggest ones. And I want you to know that me personally, I have conquered that battle a long time ago. You know, I've been in church for a long time. And there's a lot of people. If you'll just mute yourself, please. When you come on, go ahead and mute yourself. I've been in church for many years, and I'm sure some of you have gone to church and you've heard the same thing, that words are powerful. Now, that does not mean that I'm saying that we are like God and the words that come out of our mouths create, okay? Like God says, let there be light, and then there is light. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't mean that we are divine creatures, that when we speak, something comes into an existence. But words have power to program our brains. Our brains are functioning with numbers and words and letters, okay? We are analytical creatures, and that's how our brains work. And when we say things out loud, our brains take in that information and store it, especially if it's about ourselves. And if you stop saying those I can'ts, and if only I could, and the I wish I could, but I can't, if you can stop that now, you're already one half of the battle over. Then we can work on the rest. So stop saying it. And I've stopped saying it a long time. And if I'm in the middle of an exercise at the gym with my trainer, and he has told me I'm going to do something, and it's going to challenge me, and I know that I can technically do it, but I'm a little afraid that I might not. He never asked me to do something that he knows I cannot do. He's never going to do that. He's never going to put me in danger. But still, the temptation is there to have the words come out of my mouth. I don't think I can do this. But I stop immediately. The thought is there. The thought is there. But the words do not come out. Because that right there is the worst thing I could ever do to myself, is to actually say it. It's one thing to have the thought. It's quite the other thing to actually have it come out of your mouth. So stop speaking those terrible self-prophesying, horrible, wreaking havoc things in your life. Stop saying that stuff. Look, you can control your mouth. You can control your mouth. So do it. What we're going to try to do is to control your thoughts. That's where we're going to work on. But you can stop what comes out of your mouth now. So make a choice, ask God to help you, and catch yourself right when you're getting ready to say it. Don't say it, because it's the worst thing you could ever do, okay? Don't do it. I just felt like I needed to spend just a little bit of time on that. Level 2 works against us as well. So what is level 2? It's a little bit more deceptive because it's subtle. It doesn't sound so negative. Doesn't sound quite as negative. But let me tell you, it is. It's the things that start with, I need to, I should, right? It's very beguiling. You think it's working for you. It's not. It's just identifying something that you probably should do, right? That you need to do. Why? What's so wrong with that? Because the rest of the statement that you don't say is really what's implied. I need to get this house cleaned up, but I'm not doing it. It's the but I'm not doing it that's already implied. You're just still sitting there saying, I need to get this house cleaned up. Well, how is that helpful? It is not. I really should get dinner started. I really should get things ready for this trip that's coming up next week. But what's really happening is you are finishing the sentence without even saying it. But I'm not. But I won't. And that is really what's working against us, okay? It doesn't create a solution. It doesn't create any solution, okay? I really should try to get to work on time. I've just got to lose some weight. I really need to cut down on my smoking. I've got to do something about that. I really ought to take more time with my kids. I know I should study harder. What's missing? But I don't. but I'm not, but I won't, ever. Might as well put that word in there. I mean, it is really a deceptive, negative self-talk. So stop the I shoulds, stop the I oughts, or I need to. I should, I ought, I need to. Get rid of them, because the rest of the sentence is what's really killing you. But I'm not doing it. But I won't do it. But I'm never going to do it ever. Get rid of that junk. It's killing your brain, okay? Get rid of it. What it does is it creates guilt. You're just sitting there feeling guilty. What does that do to help, right? And it also creates disappointment and an acceptance of our own self-imagined inadequacies. It makes you you're already feeling inadequate, and it's just going to put that into stone. Well, we all knew I was inadequate. I guess I'm inadequate. I'm always feeling guilty. I guess I should just feel so bad because I should do these things, and I don't do them. So stop saying those things. Level 1, level 2, get rid of it. Level 3 is the beginning of the self-talk that starts to work on you. It's the defining. It's when you actually define your problem and you turn it around. You sort of flip it on its head, and it's saying, I no longer do this, or I never do such and such. Now notice I no longer and I never, those are negative words, okay? I want you to get this. See, I'm a language teacher. I taught Spanish for 23 years. That means I had to really teach English, because a lot of the kids that were trying to learn Spanish didn't even know the English language. So I want you to hear me that level 3 self-talk still contains negative words, even though it's working for you. Okay, so hear me, stick with me here. Level 3 is using the I never and I no longer, or I do not, blah, blah, blah. That's the words that it's using. But I'm just telling you, it can be tricky because you're still using negative words. Now, does Shad Helmstetter tell you that? No. He doesn't say, be careful, that's tricky. He doesn't say that. But I'm telling you, okay, listen to me, for example, all right? Let's say that you're afraid to fail. Okay, that's one of your fears. So, level 1. I can't do anything. I can't do anything. I'm always a failure. That's horrible. Get rid of it. Level 2. I should really start trying to do something with my business, but I'm just so afraid. I ought to really make a live video this week, but I'm not. Okay. What's level 3? Okay, now here's the one that's working for you, okay? But notice how it's got a negative word in it. Listen to me, okay? Here we go. I am not a failure. I never fail. I am not afraid of failure. I do not fear failure. I do not, I am not. Do you see that? But they've still got negative words. Okay, but it still is going to help you to use that. But it has negative words in it. My point is, there's a level that's more powerful that's coming. So if you can try to work towards level 4 to completely get rid of the negative words. In other words, get rid of the do nots, get rid of the don'ts, get rid of the nevers, get rid of the nots, the no's, the nevers, get rid of those. You can try to phrase it. Work with somebody if you're having a hard time rephrasing your affirmations. You know, I work very closely with my team, and when some of them come to me and they give me a list, I will go in and rewrite them for them. I ask them, can I have permission to do it? And I will go in and rewrite them and get rid of all the negative words altogether, because negative words are still having authority. Okay, so this is the beginning to rephrase your old negative cannots. It puts them behind you and states them in a positive new way a positive new way that tells your subconscious mind to wake up, get moving, and make the change. So I want you to hear some other examples, okay? Remember, I never, I no longer. Notice that they're in the present tense. Present tense. Not I will not, I will never. It's I do not. I do not ever. Present tense. Not future tense, present tense. Okay? Future tense is not as powerful. Use the present. Okay? So here's some examples that he gives. I never smoke. I no longer have a problem dealing with people at work. Notice it's I no longer. I never eat more than I should. I never get upset in traffic. I no longer put off doing anything that I want to get done. Now, do you see how those are sort of powerful, but they still have the negative? And what I want to do is try to get you to a place where you can get rid of the do nots and the nevers. So I want you to hear something else before I move on to the next level. It doesn't matter if you are literally still smoking the cigarette and one of your affirmations is, I never smoke. I never feel the necessity to smoke. I no longer feel the need to have a cigarette in my hand or in my mouth. I no longer feel tempted to smoke in stressful situations. I no longer feel the need to smoke after I eat. I know, whatever the case may be, whatever your triggers are, you've got all of these affirmations. I no longer and I never. I no longer and I never. It doesn't matter if the thing is still in your hand and you're doing it. If you're saying, I no longer smoke, I never feel the need to smoke, and you're still doing it, even as you say it, as crazy as it is, it's okay that you're still doing it, but you're saying that you don't do it because you're telling your brain to think a different way and you're reprogramming it. And one day you're going to look at that and go, well, then why is that thing still in my hand? And you're going to get rid of it. You say it long enough to yourself. Remember, it doesn't have to be true for your brain to believe it to be true. It will believe what you tell it to believe. So another example is I get up every day at 6:30 in the morning, ready to start my day fresh and new, to be productive and get work done. Even though every morning I wake up at 8. I keep saying it, and the more I say it and 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 say it, and one day I'm going to start getting up at 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to feel compelled to do it. My brain is reprogramming. It's finally saying, look, better practice what you preach here, sister. And you won't be making the awareness of it. It's just that you've reprogrammed it, and you are going to start doing that. Okay, let's talk about level 4, where you're literally getting rid of all the negative words. I've spent a lot of time on this chapter. Why? Because I see a lot of weak affirmations. When they come through my team, I see a lot of weak affirmations. And I want to see powerful, bold affirmations that work towards level 4. And here's where they need to be. You need to take a look at your list of affirmations and try as you may to try to get them to be in the present tense and to be statements of I am. When you can have the statement of the I am, you are in the better you level. This is the most effective level, is the I am. Think about the Bible. If you have been to church, you know what I'm talking about. The great I am, right? God is the great I am. That's one of the names of God, the great I am. Now, does that mean I am saying that I am God? In no way, shape, or form. But what I am saying is The present tense to be verb is very powerful. I want you to really get that. The present tense to be verb, the I am. To be. I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, they are. I am. When you put this in the first person, you say I am. That is powerful. And I really want you to try to get some phrases in your self-talk, in your affirmations that say I am. Okay? So what is the I am doing? It's the most needed. It's the level that you're painting a completed new picture of yourself, the way you really wanted it to be, handing it to your subconscious and saying, this is the me that I want you to create, brain. Forget all that bad stuff that I gave you in the past. This is your new program. Now, let's get to work at it. This is the picture you're giving to your brain of yourself. Who are you? This is the you that you're trying to create. I am organized and I am in control of my life. I am a winner. I am healthy, energetic. I am enthusiastic and I am going for it. Nothing can stop me now. I love who I am. I like who I am. I am in tune. I am on the top, and I am in touch with everyone I meet and with my own personal soul. I'm in touch. I have determination, drive, and self-belief. I am living the life that I choose to live, and I choose what's right every single time. Okay, did you hear all those? Those are pretty powerful. Now, let's go back to the ex-smoker. The ex-smoker. Remember in level 3, it's I no longer feel the need to smoke. I never smoke. I no longer need smoking. I no longer smoke. Okay. The level 4 says, I do not smoke. My lungs are clean and healthy. I have no habits which harm me or hold me back in any way. That is the level 4 non-smoker. Notice all those present tense phrases. My lungs are clean. I have no habits which harm me or hold me back. Okay. The past procrastinator who had been programmed to put things off now says, I do everything I need to do when I need to do it. I enjoy getting things done, and I enjoy doing things on time and in just the right way. Notice how I enjoy, I do, all of that's the present tense. Not all of it starts with I am, but you have a lot of I ams. What about I am beautiful? Well, if you really don't believe that you're beautiful, then you got some work to do. And it's more than just the words, I am beautiful. You might need to take apart your face. I have eyes that were constructed by God the Almighty. My hair shines the light of the life of my soul. It reflects the enthusiasm of my face. My face is always full of a smile. I love the way that my face is shaped and the texture of my skin tone. You're going to have to do some work on constructing some sentences about your beauty. And if you don't believe that you're beautiful, you're going to have to tell yourself in various different ways, as hard as it will be for you. Some of you are going to find this painful. because you truly believe those lies that have been buried deep inside you for years that you've bought. You've bought the lies, and it's time to reprogram. The only way you're going to do it is by doing it with phraseology that's in the present tense, that's in the I am, and that is very powerful. This self-talk is going to really do battle with your fears, and you're going to end up the victor. How about this? I am a winner. I believe in myself. I respect myself, and I like who I am. I have made the decision to win in my life, and that's exactly what I am doing. That's level 4. So I really want you to look at your affirmations. If you have 10 affirmations, stick with your 10, redefine them, try to get them to level 4. And for each one, maybe one is about your beauty. Maybe one is about a habit that you're trying to break. Maybe another one is about something you're trying to create in your life, like organization. Create 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 phrases regarding that topic. And stick on that topic for many different phrases and sentences. Meaning you're going to write a little script. If you have one that's I am beautiful, then that's not enough. You're not going to reprogram the brain to believe you're beautiful if that's all you've got. You're going to have to give it a lot more than I am beautiful. You're going to have to describe your face. You're going to have to use some descriptive terminology, describe your lips, your eyes, your hair, your facial structure, your cheekbones, every single thing about you in beautiful terms. And it's going to be hard, but you're going to have to do it because that's how you're going to reprogram that brain. If you're trying to stop a bad habit, then you're going to have to create situational situations where, for example, if you're always overeating when you go out to eat, like I usually have a problem, then you're going to have to talk about how when I sit down at the table, I no longer have the feeling of needing to eat everything on my plate. And when I enter the restaurant, already in my mind, I know what I'm going to order. When I have conversations with the people at the table, I am not focused on the food, but rather building the relationships. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm not just saying I no longer overeat at restaurants. I have more than that to say about it because I'm not going to just stop overeating at restaurants if I just say I no longer overeat at restaurants. I'm going to have to do something else. I'm going to have to say some other things to myself about it. And I would say 6, 7, 8, 10 sentences regarding that. Now, I'm jumping ahead a little bit because that's a higher level skill in this book. But I am telling you that the more phraseology you can put around a problem and focus on it and make it level 4, the better and more powerful affirmations you're going to have, and the more success you're going to have in your business, the more success you're going to have in your personal life. Okay? Now, the level 5 is the it is. Now this is not where you're going to seek to be right now, but once you can attach level 4 and you can really get to it, levels 3 and 4, okay, this is more like a oneness with God, this level 5, okay? It's a unity of spirit, a divine and timeless cosmic affinity, which transcends all worldly things and gives meaning to our being. Huh? What? Sorry, that's not the here and now, and it's a little bit, it's just like the esoteric awesomeness of the universe. What? I'm sorry. First of all, I'm a Christian, so I don't believe in the New Age movement, and I don't believe in anything that's, what's the word, occultish. So I don't believe I'm one with the universe. Sorry, that's just, I'm going to say it. I don't believe I'm one with the universe. I don't believe that the universe is out there to give me the most amazing experience of life. The universe was created by God. It certainly has nothing to do with me. I'm not a part of it. I do believe that I'm connected to God, for sure. by his grace and mercy only. But we can learn to come up with these higher level affirmations. And for example, I just gave you some. I don't want to say them again. It's still important that we take care of today. So what I want you to do is really focus of what's going on today. Like, I'm still dealing with the fact that I believe I'm ugly. So stop believing that and deal with the fact that you're beautiful and flip it on its head. Levels 3 and 4. I'm still having a problem showing up for time on time at work. So why do we need to talk about oneness with the universe when we can't get to work on time? That's my thing, the point that I want to make here, okay? So we don't need to be worrying about being one with the universe when we can't get our house cleaned, and we can't pack for that trip that's coming up, and we can't, get organized. We need to get those things done. So for now, learn the self-talk that's going to get you to work on time, help you fix your family ties, give yourself the self-image that you deserve, and get the basic things of life in this life in order. And that's what you need to do. So levels 3 and 4, remember, you're shooting for level 4. No, I just read somebody right with you, Suzanne, not into the new age piece. Thank you for all that great teach. Okay. Yeah, we don't know. I brought side note, my father was into the new age movement for, I want to say 30, 40 years. He lived out in Southern California, and he was a wealthy man. He went from one guru to the next. He had a lot of Hinduistic, Eastern, mystical, Buddhist, transcendental meditation, you name it, all that stuff. And believe it or not, by the grace and mercy of God, long story short, I won't give it to you, but he came out of it. He came out of that and saw the truth of who God really is. Not one God of many, not one God of not Buddha is the same as Muhammad, which is the same as Jesus. No, he saw Jesus Christ as the one and only, and he believed for the first time ever. It was the most incredible thing. And it's a long story. Maybe at some point I'll have a chance to tell you, but it's just not tonight. So start listening to what you are saying to yourself and write it down and start changing it. What is it you're saying to yourself all the time? You know, that was one of the assignments that we had a couple of weeks ago. You were to start to listen to what you're saying. And whatever it is that you're saying, you got to flip that stuff. You got to flip it on its head and get it turned around, because what you're saying usually is a result of the limiting beliefs that you have based on the lies that you were told, that you bought into years ago, that you just keep buying the lie, right? And we've got to turn that around. So start saying the things that work for you instead of against you. Now, what's the problem with positive thinking? It's a great idea, right? Norman Vincent Peale wrote a book called The Power of Positive Thinking. I actually own it on Audible, and it is a really great read. Don't get me wrong. It's great. But it's temporary and it's not permanent. It's an idea that's a self-help practice, and it's not going to work for you. And Shad Helmstetter does an incredible job of saying why it doesn't work. You cannot just make the decision to stop thinking negatively. You cannot just do that. You must replace the negative thoughts with your new positive ones. Remember, we talked about erase and replace. You can't just get rid of all the negative and then, oh, I'm going to start thinking positive. No, you've got to replace with positive self-talk and positive mental programming. So it almost does the trick, but not quite 100%. Doesn't. I just don't want to read all this because the mental program. Okay. Just making a decision to never again think negatively and for the rest of your lives think positively, while it may work for a time, can't work indefinitely. Why? Because the mental program, which was already set up in your subconscious mind, is the old programming. The kind that is reprogrammed to disbelieve new information. It's going to disbelieve new information because it's programmed already to think a certain way. And that disbelieve in that old programming, it's not going to agree with the new programming that you give it, the new ideas, the new positive ideas that you come up with. It's just not going to agree with it. So if you tell yourself that from today onward, you're never going to think again negatively without at the same time giving yourself a specific new word for word mapping vocabulary, right things to say, you will soon slip right back into that old comfortable old habit of thinking negatively, because that's where the ruts are. And that's what you've always done. So what analogy does he give? The mental analogy of the mental apartment. The mental apartment analogy. It's this apartment that you've got. Imagine this in your brain, that you have this mental apartment with all this broken down furniture and fixtures and things like that. You remove it all and you go piece by piece and put it all into the garage. Your chipped, broken up sink, your dishes that have cracks and broken edges, your table that with one leg off of it and you can only eat off one end, your chairs that are missing the cushions, and so you only have one little place where you can sit. So you're going to take all of that stuff and you're going to move it out into the garage, and now you have this empty space. Why can't you just think positively now? You've got an empty space. There's nothing to replace it. There's nothing to replace that old broken furniture. So what you're going to do is when you need something to eat off of, you're going to go out to the garage and grab one of your broken dishes and bring it back into the kitchen and make yourself a sandwich. That's right. And you're going to do that on your broken dish. Oh, but I need something to sit on while I'm eating. So you're going to go right back out to the garage and grab your old rusty broken down chair and bring it in and have a seat while you eat your sandwich on your old chipped, cracked dish. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing to replace the mental apartment that's cleaned out. You have to give it brand new, sparkling, beautiful, state-of-the-art fixtures and furniture. Pristine, beautiful, perfect. That's what you're going to have to do. Okay? We are most comfortable with the thoughts that we have lived with the most of our entire lives. It makes no difference if those thoughts are not the best for us. It's what we know. It's what we are most secure in keeping at our side. And when we decide to stop thinking negatively and do not have an immediate new positive vocabulary to replace the old, you're going to always return to that old comfortable, old negative self-talk in the past. You have no other choice. That's the only thing that's there and available for you. It's all out there in the garage. Why not? We just go out and get it. We need the furniture. We've got to have something to sleep on. Those old yucky looking sheets, we're going to have to put them back on the bed because we don't have anything else to sleep on. So you have got to create new word for word terminology that's beautiful, perfect, pristine. It's not going to feel familiar to you. It's going to feel foreign. You're going to think this is crazy. Are you serious? I'm not beautiful. Why in the world would I say I'm beautiful? I've been told I'm ugly my whole life. Well, stop it. You are beautiful, and the only way you're going to believe it is if you start describing your beauty to yourself over and over while you're looking in the mirror. Boy, is that going to be hard. Oh, it's easier. Just don't look in the mirror and say it. No, go stand in the mirror and say your affirmations. Way more powerful. I'm jumping ahead in the book. If you go in front of the mirror, trust me, you're going to find some power. Okay, so a new mental apartment filled with shiny new appliances and furniture. Instead, let us say that I knock on your door and I ask you to come outside. There stands a shiny new delivery truck full of the most beautiful furniture that you have ever imagined. For the next 2 to 3 hours, I help you carry all of the beautiful new furniture, your positive new self-talk into your mental apartment. And this time, we don't store the old negative furniture in the garage. What do? We pile it up in a huge pile and set a match to it. We get rid of it. So now there is no longer a rickety old table to drag out of the garage. There's no longer a set of dishes with cracks and chips in an old dusty box. It's gone. We have replaced it with brand new, beautiful, perfect, new, word for word terminology, pristine, right? And by the way, don't give your old furniture to anybody else. Just say, here, you can have it because I don't need it anymore. Oh no, we don't want to do that. Don't do it. Don't pass along your negative self-talk to anyone else. After all, that's how you got there in the first place. So throw it out. Throw out the old. It is essential that you get rid of the old by replacing with the new. But it is essential that you got to replace the old with the new, word for word, thought by thought. The problem has been that in the past, no one gave us the words. No one gave us the words. No one gave us a word for word vocabulary that we needed to replace the negative programming that we learned so well. So the right kind of self-talk is the key to making all positive thinking work. Without the right self-talk, for most of us, positive thinking just becomes wishful thinking. You don't want that. Wishful thinking is nothing more than saying to yourself, I wish I could, but I can't. Wanting to be a positive thinker is not enough. Making the decision to have a positive attitude is not enough. The human brain says, give me more. Give me the words. Give me the directions, the commands, the pictures. What is the mental picture I'm supposed to have here? The schedule, the right results that I want. Then I will do it for you if you give it to me. Just give me the words. What does this look like? What does this look like sitting down at a table and not overeating at a restaurant? What does it look like? What does it look like and feel like and taste like and smell like to not be addicted to smoking anymore? Give me the words. You need to give it the words. Now, finally, the motivation myth, and this is going to have to be quick. We've got 10 minutes. Motivation is a myth. You think it works? No, it doesn't. Why? Because it's not going to stick with you. External motivation is a myth. It's the kind of thing where, oh, there's a meeting next week. Who wants to come with me? I'm going to go to that meeting. I'm going to take all these notes. Ooh, I got a new idea. I'm going to go home and do it. And then you get home and all the old junk starts to seep back and you think, well, I don't think I can do that. I've never been able to do stuff like this ever before in my life, so why would this work now? And you just resort to your old way of thinking. And do you see how external motivation doesn't work? It just doesn't. External is temporary. External motivation is temporary. It's people that go from one convention to the next, to the meeting, to the video, to the conference, to the whatever, to the new idea. I'm going to try this, then I'm going to try that. And it's external motivation and it never sticks. It's only temporary. You cannot, listen to me. You cannot motivate anyone else externally. Did you know that? I was a teacher for 23 years and I saw it in my classroom. I could not make my students want to do something. They had to want to do it themselves. I could talk to them about what it feels like to want to do it. I could describe the direct consequences of amazing results if they had the desire to do something. I could talk about a new way of living and how amazing and productive it would be if they just had the desire to change. But can I motivate them to have a desire to change? No, they have to have that desire themselves. So it is the external coach who supports, encourages, demands, and rewards. But when the coach is gone, so is the support, so is the encouragement, so is the demand, and so is the reward. All the external motivation works in the same way. Keep giving us the motivation and we will do better. Take away all the motivation and that we will move mentally back to where we were before the motivation began. We may have progressed or grown a little bit or achieved something in the process, but we did not do so with someone else's energy. It was not our own. It was not our own energy. It takes more than a rousing speech to erase and replace the internal programs which tell us that we should know better than to suddenly believe that we are powerful champions of success. Haven't you felt it when you're standing in front of someone who feels horrible about themselves, and it doesn't matter how many times you say, "You're so beautiful, you're so amazing. Why can't you see that?" And they don't see it. Your words will never convince them. They must convince themselves. They have to believe it inside themselves. You can't motivate externally anyone to believe anything. A subconscious mind which has erased the old negatives and replaced them with the new positives is the most fertile ground for the growth and achievement that we will ever find. And external motivation, remember, is just not permanent. So I just talked about how you cannot manage others. You cannot externally motivate yourself, and you cannot manage others either. You can't motivate them. If you really want to reach out to people and help them to motivate themselves, then you're going to need to first work with their own self-talk. Teach them how to talk to themselves. And if they can buy into that, then they might have a chance to start believing a different way. Some external motivation, get this, some external motivation works actually against us. It works against us. Wow. You want to know how? Listen to this. Here's how it works. We go to a motivational talk. It's a great talk, right? We get all motivated. We get all inspired. By this time, it's over, and we now have some new sights that we've made an irrevocable commitment. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go home. I'm going to change this. Boom. To make these important changes for the better. We may even have set some specific goals at this time to do just that. Then we go back home. We take a look around. We go back to the details and the distractions of everyday life that have always been in our lives. Our old programming quietly reconvinces us that we are capable of less than the person on the stage was trying to get us to believe. And we're not even aware that there's a powerful internal mechanism at work busily beginning to override the new inspiration that we got from that speaker. And eventually in our internal programming, it wins out. And what happens is, while we listened to this trainer, we readjusted our sights higher and set new goals. But after a few minor defeats, we start to agree once again with our old opinions of ourselves, and we fail to reach the goal. So now what's the worst thing that's happening? The disappointment of that failure, large or small, often takes the individual where? Backwards. Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me. You go right back home to the dogma, the conundrum, the daily things, the daily grind of whatever it is that we do, and then you start to believe that you can't make that happen. And then all these new commitments and these goals that we've set, we feel like a new failure at something else. Where if we hadn't even gone to the conference, at least we would have been better off. Now we've gone backwards. That's not good. So there are many kinds of external motivators like friends, books, family, luck, problems that come along, achievements that happened, social pressures that come along. One of our greatest daily motivators is the heap of demands of daily living. The things that really come in around us. We've even found a popular word to express the result of too much of that kind of motivation called stress. But what happens is you take the stress away and the motivation is gone. So even that can't motivate us. Do you see my point? External motivation is a myth. It doesn't exist. The only motivation that lasts is internal. Internal motivation. Okay? What is internal motivation? Relying on you to stay energized and focused, in tune and on top and in touch. Not needing anybody to prod you or push you along. It's your best friend, your internal motivation. It's your closest ally. It's your strongest believer. It gives you direction and purpose. It strengthens your will. It gives you unquestioned belief, loyal to the end. The coach who never goes home, the ultimate motivator. It will never fail you. And guess who it is? You. That's internal motivation. You. So with that, I'm going to leave on the discussion because there are going to be some people that have some questions. We can't talk forever. It is 9 o'clock in Central Time. That means it's 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Be ready, my friends, next week, because next week we are going to be discussing chapters 12, 13, and 14, which is self-talk is not subliminal. It is in the conscious mind. We are in the thinking conscious mind. It must be simple or it will not work. And 5 methods that we can use to actually implement our self-talk. Okay? So if you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself. Feel free to ask the question. We have 37 people on the live Facebook. Hi, Facebook. We've got 71 still left on the Zoom recording. Who has a question? Anybody?
So I have a quick question.
Yes. Am I talking to Kim?
Yeah, this is Kim. My camera's not working. Sorry.
Hi, Kim.
Hi. So I don't know if my jewel Jennifer is on this or not, and I know some of the assignments are to report to your upline. Who would I report to if I don't see them on here?
Okay, good question. You know what? You wouldn't have anyone necessarily to report to. You might want to just write your comments in the feed, in the answer to the comments or the assignment. You can write it all out and express it and go through the, ultimately, Kim, what I'm saying is we ultimately hold ourselves accountable. So if you don't have an upline that's in the group, that's not just holding your hand, I'm not saying that, but holding you accountable, then you have to hold yourself accountable and to stay consistent. But I would go ahead and post your answers there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I've got to check and see if Lori's on here or not. So, but okay, cool.
Reach out to your upline and ask them if they would hold you accountable, if that's what you want to do.
No worries. Thank you so much for everything too. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Awesome.
Fabrienne, did you have a question, dear?
I do. I just didn't want to interrupt and be cautious. I've actually been watching this with my husband.
Yes.
I felt my husband could really benefit from some of this as well. And with his schooling, he doesn't always get to make the meetings. But as an example, using the I am like a smoker example. To use I am statements, would you put I am not a smoker since there's still a negative word in there? Or how would you take that to a level 4 without using that negative word?
Level 4 without using the I am. Level 4 about smoking. Okay, level 3 would be I no longer and I never. I no longer need to smoke. I no longer feel the need to smoke. I no longer, in this circumstance or in that circumstance, I never, in this particular circumstance in the car, I never smoke. I mean, you're going to describe it. That's level 3, okay? Level 4 is I have complete control over my cravings. I have a desire for my health and longevity. I have every single priority of my health in line. Every single choice I make regarding my health is sustaining my well-being. I mean, I'm just really reaching here, without saying no and never and do not. You know, level 3 is like, for example, if you're afraid to fail, level 3 is I am not afraid to fail. If level 3 is, if your fear is I feel like I'm a failure, you say I am not a failure. But saying the negative I am is really not powerful. I want you to think of level 3 as the I no longer and I never. I no longer and I never. So try to not say I do not. Because when you say I do not or I am not, especially the I am not, that is where you're really taking the power away from the I am. So more specific, let me see if I can come up with some more things. You're just really putting me on the spot here. I am a recovered smokeaholic. I am completely recovered from the addiction of smoking. Does that sound powerful or what?
Yeah.
I am. You know, these are things that you're going to have to sit down with and really put some thought into. This is not just something that, I mean, think about how powerful, if you knew that your paycheck and your ultimate success in your business is reliant on you getting this down, would you spend more time with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I am here to tell you that that is the case.
Yeah.
So really spend time on getting these things down. You can't just blithe over it. It's got to be something that you sit down and spend some time on. And if you need some help, then ask for it. Go and talk to someone who is, you know, good with language. Go talk with somebody who's a good writer, maybe, who knows how to phrase things. So people are giving you some ideas right here. I am enjoying breathing deeply. I enjoy living, okay. I enjoy living a smoke-free life. See that? I love that. Great, great ideas. Great ideas. Okay. Someone has asked a question about the ThinkUp app. How do the 5 to 6 thoughts work? Do 5 to 6 several, do I do 5 to 6 separate affirmations with the same hashtag or one longer recorded statement? No, you on the ThinkUp app, what I do is I have, okay, and I love this question, by the way, because if I have a problem with overeating when I sit down at a restaurant, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have probably 15 different sentences, okay? I'm going to have 15 different sentences where I have them separately in the ThinkUp app. Okay? Because the ThinkUp app does not let you write long paragraphs that I can remember. I think the longest paragraph I got was like, I don't know, a couple of sentences in. But yes, I would, you know, in that way, here's what the ThinkUp app will allow you to do. If you put separate sentences one after the other, you can reorder them whenever you want. You can take this one out and put this one in. You can put this one down here and that one down there and this one, oh, I'm going to move that one up there. And that's what the ThinkUp app will allow you to do, so you can reorder your sentences. Does that help? Okay, somebody asked that question. Anyone else? ThinkUp app is amazing. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hello, Lori.
Yes. I have a quick question. Okay, so when you say your affirmations, I'm sure that you say them and listen to them.
Yes.
So how often do you do both? Like, because I do work, an 8-hour job, so I do listen to my affirmations on my headset at work. So how, versus saying them and listening to them, what is your opinion on the, I guess, how strong it's, going to stick, and change our way of thinking?
Well, listening is obviously the most convenient because you can put in earplugs, right? And you can listen in your car, and you can be doing something hands-free while your brain is empty, but your hands are busy. And listening is obviously a passive input. However, the most powerful is when you speak it with your own mouth. So my question would be to the person, maybe to you or to whoever else is asking, how bad is the problem? Perhaps a person who feels really stuck with a certain area and wants to desperately get free is going to work harder at saying them as much as they can. They're going to be so desperate that they're going to believe that this process is right and it works, and they're going to program times on their phone where they're going to go to the bathroom and they're going to sit in the stall and they're going to pull the phone out and they're going to say the words. They're going to say, I am beautiful. I am this, or whatever it takes. Go out in their car, go to the break room, whatever, or go wherever it is that they can have some privacy. So that you can have a full conquering of those fears and those negative beliefs that we've believed all our lives. But if it's good for you to listen to them throughout the day or listen to them at various points of the day, you do what you need to do. What is it that where is there actual traction in your business and in your personal life? When you see this working, then whatever you're doing is working. It's right. Keep doing more of it. But if what you're doing is not working, then maybe we need to up our game and start standing in front of the mirror and saying it. Maybe we need to up our game and really start saying them out loud more than we do anything else. It just depends on what's going on. That's what I would say. Does that help? Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm an auditory learner personally, so I have to be completely brain free. My hands can be busy, but my mind cannot be focused on anything else, and then I can do it. But if I'm trying to reach out to somebody and do IPA and actually think of saying something to someone or think of a post and write, I can't be listening to that, even though I have heard that it's your subconscious that it's programming and reprogramming, so that you could actively be engaged with your brain somewhere else, thinking and listening to something while you're doing something else, like literally brain engaged with something else. You're listening to that in the background. It's just reprogramming. I personally want to actually hear the stuff and think about it at the same time because I find that it's powerful. I really do believe that it's the conscious self reprogramming that is very, very powerful. So if you were to take the time to concentrate, hands busy, brain free, that's the best way. It is not subliminal. It is not unconscious. You are programming the subconscious, but you're not unconscious while you're doing it. You are conscious. And I think that's what's the biggest point there. Yes, put on your headset and listen while you're going to sleep. There you go. Mm-hmm. You can write in your journal. Yes, that's what we're going to talk about next week. There's 5 different things that you can do. Writing, saying it, having a conversation with yourself, hearing it. I forget the 5th one. Anyway, it's really interesting having a self-conversation. That's going to be one that's going to be nice, neat to discover next week. Does anyone else have a question? Nicole? Yes? Anybody? Okay, barely. Who's talking?
Nicole.
Okay, hey, Nicole. Okay, let me see if I can unmute you. Okay. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay, good. So my question relates directly to business. So I have a lot of fear around disappointment. Okay, so the problem that I'm having is that I can work really hard. I can hustle, get a lot of momentum going in my business. When I stop working, I get this anxiety or this fear that the business, that my momentum will stop. And that's really, really hard for me because I feel like as I'm working through this, which is a huge thing for me, this mindset stuff, I'm like taking a step back from my business. Not intentionally, but my intensity of my business is like, my intensity is reaching out to people and hustling is like slowing down, and I'm just having a hard time giving myself permission to do that. You know what I mean? And then that fear mechanism that's protecting me from feeling disappointment or lowering my expectations, where this is the opposite of that. So do you have any advice on how to tackle this while still running a business and not feeling like a complete failure?
So it sounds like to me that you have it all together with taking action, correct? But that, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that you'll be in the middle of doing your business and taking action, and then you're afraid of something not working. Am I correct? Okay. So you're afraid to fail. You're afraid of failure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, the healthiest attitude is to start knowing now that failure is a part of your success. That failure is imperative to your success. If you don't fail, you'll never succeed. Think about Michael Jordan. How many times did he have to fail in order to be the best at what he did? Now, there's example after example after example. Kobe Bryant would spend hours and hours and hours practicing layups. Think about Tom Brady. I'm using sports as an example. That's one of the biggest things that I know to compare it to. Tom Brady, in order to be so accurate, he practices and practices. He gets up early. He goes into the weight room, right? But he also knows that he's going, oh, my TV just came on. Hang on. I'm right in the middle of a thought. Hang on. Okay. So he would show up at the weight room and he would lift the weights in the dead of the night when no one was there. And that sounds like to me what you're doing. You're throwing a lot of mud up on the wall. You're doing a lot of practicing. You're getting out there into the arena. But you have to go in with the knowledge that you're going to have an injury. You're going to have an ACL tear. You're going to have somebody knock you down. You're going to throw an interception. Okay? You're going to do it over and over again. You're going to lose the Super Bowl even. Are you hearing me? And it's okay that you do, because if you don't, you'll never win the Super Bowl. So what do? You go out and buy this book called Failing Forward by John Maxwell. Have you got that book? No. Okay, you need to have a very healthy view of failure. You need to learn what it is, and you need to stop being afraid of it. And to be able to identify people who are afraid to fail never do anything with their lives. They stay right where they're at. And people that are not afraid to fail seek to fail. They actually seek it out. They seek to fail, and then they say, what else can I start to fail at? Because I'm going to learn every time I fail, I'm going to learn more, and that makes me more successful. So do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, actually, now that just as you're saying it, I realize that whenever I challenge myself to go for no, I feel the most success.
Good. It's a small book, Failing Forward. It's a small book, It's called Failing Forward. It's easy to read. It's not hard. It will change your life. You'll find yourself in the book. I promise. You'll want to read it over and over again. You can get it on Audible. Audible, it's downloadable there. You can get it for that, and it's a really great thing. If you don't have the Audible app already, you guys, it's a wonderful app to get. Basically, what you're doing is you go to a website called audible.com, and raise your hand. Is anybody, I can't see everybody's hands raised. Gallery. A lot of people have it. Okay, I got it from the very beginning. It's an incredible app. And what you can do is, I'm thinking about something else. And so I got off. Okay. So what it is you go to audible.com and you can sign up for an account. It's an Amazon account. It's associated with your Amazon account. So if you already have an Amazon account, then you're going to log in with Audible the same way. And it's $14.95 a month. And you get your first 2 downloads for free. You can exchange a book anytime you want. It's only $14.95 per month. You can stop it at any time. And you own your, yes, Failing Forward by John Maxwell. Failing Forward by John Maxwell, yes. And almost every John Maxwell, yep, she's holding it up to the screen. Thank you. Oh, awesome, Joanne. For almost every John Maxwell book is on Audible. And I'm telling you something, you're going to learn so much from him. Stay with us and we'll do a John Maxwell book. That's where we're going. The next book we're going to do is Romy Newstedt's Get Over Your Damn Self, because we need to do a network marketing book. But those of you who stick with me are going to get a John Maxwell book. Anybody else have a question?
I do.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Christine.
Hi. So I am a visual person and I'm a busy person. I don't like sitting still. I've got to be doing something. And even at night when I'm trying to go to bed, I'm like, okay, I really should actually be doing this, not sleeping. And, and so, and I babysit during the day and everything, and surrounding myself with young ones, and I still have one that's at home. I have a hard time remembering to do my affirmations, and I'm a better person when somebody else says them to me. Would it be, I also don't like hearing myself talk. Like, I really don't. I'm like, I don't listen to myself at all. But if I were to list them, would it work the same way if I had my husband just randomly, say these things, just during the day? Because he'll text me randomly, and, would it work the same to have him, just text me? One of mine is time management.
Great idea.
Terrible with time management and everything, saying.
It's a great idea, Christine. It is, but it's not going to be the powerful way of it's not going to work. Okay. The thing that's going to work is your voice saying it to you. And the reason that you don't like to hear your voice is because you're not comfortable with it. And I'm going to just go there. So just forgive me, lack self-confidence. It's okay to lack self-confidence. It's okay to not like your voice. I don't think a lot of people do. I don't like my own voice. What has happened? I have gotten used to it. I don't like a lot of the things that I say. I don't like some of the phraseology that I use. I do not like a lot of my facial expressions. But here's the thing, I've gotten over it. I've gotten over it, and I've gotten used to it. So you will do the same thing. And the only way you're going to make this work is if you take the time to do it. I know you say you're busy, but really, I'm going to be honest with you here again. Okay, so just bear with me, okay? It's going to be bold. I'm going to say a bold thing to you. If you're too busy to do this, then you have other priorities. You're going to have to put this as a priority on your list. You're going to make it a priority, because if you really want to be the unstoppable person that God designed you to be, and to walk into your destiny, then you're going to do this. There is no self-help book. There's not enough text from your husband or verbal voicemails from your husband that's going to make you believe in yourself. Remember, external motivation. I want to say it again. External motivation does not work. It's a myth. You have to motivate from within. You have to do it from within. It is not from without. And I will say this. I heard this from Sonia Dudley 2 years ago, and I will say it again. If you fail to go within, you will go without. If you fail to go within, you will go without. You have got to do the work for yourself. No one's going to do it for you. No one can do it for you. It sounds amazing, the idea. I know. I would love to hear my husband have a litany of things where he says, you're so beautiful and you do everything right. Oh my gosh, I would just die probably to hear that. But that is not what's going to make me believe in myself, right? I have to say the things to myself in order to believe it. Okay. Tell me who has a question. I'm so glad I can make some of you laugh. Shad has a site that is full of self-taught topics to listen to. I have listened to a few and then recorded myself saying what he is saying. Bam. Wow. Tammy, you are amazing. I didn't even know about that. Where's Tammy? Tammy, where are you? Tammy. Raise your hand. I can't find you. That is amazing. Okay, thank you so much for saying that. I'm going to go out and look for Shad Helmstetter's website. Yeah, what's the website? I'm just going to go out to Google. Google it. Selftalkpro.com. Write it down, women. Selftalkpro.com. Go find yourself some topics and start talking. Self-Talk Pro, selftalkpro.com. Free for 30 days. That means you got to pay. You got to pay if you want to play. Okay. Who else has a question? We're at 23 minutes after the hour. Anybody else have a question? I see a lot of you have stuck through. Good for you. You are welcome. It's my pleasure. The dream is free. The journey costs. It certainly does. It's been a great session. Thank you guys so much. Mwah, mwah. Don't forget next week, chapters, what did I say? 12, 13, and 14. Same time, same night. See you on the flip side. Go out there and get this stuff going. Love you. Mwah.